Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to the Sit Show. Today we're going to be covering recalls. Recalls are a life-saving command that many owners struggle with. And I'm going to be using Faye to start with today, talking about exiting the crate inside the home doing recalls. If we don't practice recalls inside the house and make sure that the dog is responsive, then we are setting the dog up for failure outside the home. So we're going to be giving 5 examples of recalls today, and today Faye is first. I have never asked Faye to do this before. She is about 3.5 months old, and honestly, I'm hoping she fails this one so we can talk about what I did wrong, but here goes nothing. Faye! So there's a distraction over there, and lucky for me, my puppy is on me, and that's what I want. Good girl. What could happen, though, if you have a puppy is you let them out, and you're not really paying attention to them, and there could be a distraction someplace inside the house. I've planted my daughter over here with another dog with cookies. Can you shake the bag of cookies? So if Faye gets distracted, something we tend to do is, when the puppy is distracted, Faye, come. Faye, Faye, come. Good. Faye. That right there is wrong. I said her name a bunch of times. I was clapping my hands. I said come multiple times. And what I'm teaching Faye is Faye doesn't have to come when called on the first command. So it's important for me when working my new puppies or clients' puppies that I can always control the outcomes of the situation. And A, not set them up for failure like I just did. B, have a leash on, and also consider how close the distractor might be to me when I'm asking my dog to perform. So we're going to do that again the right way so it can't fail. It's foolproof. It's fail-proof if we do it this way. So since Faye is not with me, not paying attention, I'm not going to ask her to come to me. I'm going to go get her, and we're going to start all over again. Thanks, sweetie. Hey, sweetheart. Come here. So I'm going to put her back in the kennel, and we're going to start over the right way. The reason I think it's important to have a recall from a crate is it's a threshold. And in my experience, how the dog exits the crate and responds coming out of the crate does affect how they might be around doorways because it's a barrier, it's a threshold. So I start this as often as I can with my young puppies inside the house with a crate door because it transfers to the doorways in the house leading to the big fun outside world. I'm going to make sure that I put Faye's leash on first. I'm blocking the crate door with my leg so she can't escape. And I'm just going to shut this door, right? So then what I'm going to do is the same thing I basically just did earlier where it failed, but now I have a leash on. Okay, Faye, come. Good girl. When she comes to me, I would like her sitting in front of me and looking up at me. I can pet her, I can use food for this, and then if she starts off in a direction I don't want her to go in, Faye, come. Good girl. Now, instead of her running over to Louie and Clara, I can stop her with my leash. I am just using this simple piece of equipment that we take for granted to set her up for success. So she's going to go off in this direction again. Faye, come. Good girl. Sit. Good. Notice when I asked her to come to me, I was standing upright, moving backwards quickly, and telling her she's a good girl as she's coming to me. I want her to pick me over Clara and Louie, because at some point in life, she might be someplace, if the dog gets outside the door, they see kids that they like in the street, or dogs they like in the street. I want to make sure that I've trained for real life situations that can happen. So coming out of the crate and coming to me is really important. I know we kind of segued into a distraction, but I want you to think about this at home as well. The dog has come out of the crate, they're off leash, and the doorbell rings, or the kids run upstairs and the dog is running amok and you can't get the dog back to you. I want to make sure that I'm using those opportunities to train my dog for things that they're going to encounter in life. Next up, I'm going to use Louie, who has more training. I'm trying something new with him today. I want him to wait in that crate with the door open. Louie loves food, which I have in my pocket, and Louie loves his place command, and it's going to sort of segue into the next thing. But I want Louie to be able to resist the urge, he's a little impulsive, to blow through that crate door until I release him and then come to me. So he's in his kennel, the leash is already threaded through, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to step on the leash. If he were to come forward, I'm just going to shut the door, and I'm actually going to give him a treat inside the kennel for waiting. So I'm going to prime him again. I'm going to open the door. He stays in. I'm going to give him a cookie back there. He has the leash on, so I can use the leash to help facilitate any breaking and going through before I'm ready. So he wants to come out of the crate, so I have to do a good job of paying him inside that crate so I can work this exercise with him. Again, if he were to come out, which he hasn't done, I can use the leash to put him back in, shut the door, and then just start over. You have to have a little bit of patience for this. He likes this, so I'm going to come over here. Okay, Louie, come. Good boy for you, good boy for you, good boy for you. He's like, okay, I'll do this. This can turn into a great game with your dog at home of sending them back and forth to the crate, to the place, but I'm just going to use the place for this one. Okay, good boy. Kennel. So Louie's on his kennel, and he wanted to run that way, and I've got Faye behind me. Again, this is a dog that's a little bit more advanced. He's a little bit older. He's about 7-8 months old. So I'm going to call him to me. I do not have treats in my pocket at this point, or in my hands. Louie, come. Good boy. Good boy for you. Good boy. Kennel. And if he skips over the place to the kennel, because kennel to him is either one of these things, I don't mind at all. So he kind of shut the door on himself. We'll see if he'll skip over the place on this one. Okay, Louie, come. Right here. Good boy. Another thing I can do with him is I can grab his collar as I'm reaching down to give him a treat, because what I don't want to teach the dog to do is when they come to me, if I'm going to grab the collar and they jerk away or they try to back away, think about how that would carry over into real life if my dog's running around and he comes to me, but then I go to put the leash back on and he bolts away as I grab for his collar. So sometimes as that dog comes to me, Louie, come, sit. I can grab the collar with my free hand and then give him a treat with my other hand so he is not unsure about my hand reaching for his collar. Louie's really good at this one. So he could technically be worked off leash because we're at this level with him. But again, I have to always consider my environment. If I'm someplace brand new, I'll have a long line on him or a leash. I need some way to be able to direct the dog if he fails or makes an error. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, I think too many times we take that leash or that line off before we're ready, and then we resort to our old bad habits in the beginning, like Faye, where now I'm saying her name, I'm clapping, I'm patting, I'm calling come multiple times, and the dog is just learning they don't have to. And when I say don't have to, it doesn't have to be a mean or a severe correction, but you need the ability to direct the dog where you want them to go. And that's Lewis. Right, good boy, buddy. All right, this is Josie. She's Faye's best friend. And another one I want to talk about is doorways. You can start this inside the home with internal doorways, but you're also going to want to work this at external doorways leading to the outside. As doors open, oftentimes dogs will want to bolt through a door. I need to be able to recall my dog if my kids leave the door open, the door was left ajar, an unexpected visitor coming in, whatever that might be. I need to make sure if my dog gets out of the doorway, can I bring them back in the doorway? So what I'm gonna do with her, and she has a distraction over here off to the side. I've got Louie over to the side. But with her, Josie, good girl. The first thing is I wanna make sure before I open the door, is she paying attention? I wanna ensure she's not already straining as that door opens. So her name means look at me, and that's important. Josie, good girl. So she looked, we're ready to go, we're together, and if I go to open the door, Josie, come, good girl. You can see if I would not have had a leash on, she would have run to her buddy Faye. So again, my leash is on to make sure I can control the outcome and direct her where I want her to go. So my door's already open. Josie, good. Okay. I don't care what side you're on, we're gonna go through the door. Josie, come. Good girl. That time she smelled something on the floor intoxicating. It's a piece of plastic, I can see it from here. Since you're a Labrador, you're hopeful it's a treat. Good girl for you. Let's go through again. Josie, come. Again, I had a little leash pressure there because that time she decided to go smell a toy in Faye's pen that you can't see. Good girl for you. I'm actually not going to cookie you that time. I'm just going to give you a pet and tell you how smart you is. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Josie, come. Good girl. Super duper. Good. I'm going to go and close the door, and we're going to come in. All right. Come on, Toot. Yeah, that's plastic. Josie, good. Okay. Josie, come. Good girl. So that time she made a fun little bounce towards the camera, but she responded to me, which was really nice. So again, it's going in and out of the doorways, regardless of which way the door swings. So work it on leash until it's very consistent. And I think that takes several months for a young puppy as they go through their different developmental stages. So if she sees Wooey over there. Do you see Woois? Josie, good girl. Good girl. You're so cute. I love you. Good job. And that's it for doorways. Exiting the crate from the car. Now, I kennel my dogs in the vehicle wherever I go for multiple reasons. Number one is safety. Number two is cleanliness. And number three, it just helps me control outcomes better. So when I open this tailgate, if I didn't have crates back here, my dogs could just bum rush forward. So Nix is already in a kennel, so we're gonna talk about exiting the car from a crate. So again, I don't wanna just open the crate, even if it's in my neighborhood, if I know there's a chance that she might see something or do something and then not respond to my command. So again, my leash is always on. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to hook her up, and notice she's pretty calm and she's not trying to rush forward. Since she's a growing shepherd, I have to pick her up and bring her down, but then I'm gonna call her to me because once she hits the ground, there's all this fun stuff around to look at, and I need to make sure that she's gonna come when I call her. Okay. Nix, come. Good girl for you. Good girl for you. I don't want my dog to jump out of the car and immediately hit the end of the leash, or jump out of the car and I have to hold the dog next to me because they're going to be lunging or barking at something and not paying attention to me. So when the dog comes out of the truck, my criteria is land, stay in my vicinity paying attention, or if you start to go that way, I need to be able to call you. That's the only way you're going to be off leash ever with me, or the leash is on. So if I put her up again and I have a distraction this time, come here next. Go on. So we're going to do this again, and now I have a distraction because someone's playing basketball. Again, I need my dog to pay attention to me, and I will always move away from the distraction. So whatever the dog is looking at, that's what I'm backing away from. Okay. Nix, come. Good girl. Good girl. So since it was coming from this side, I moved away and I gathered the leash with my hands and commanded that she come to me, sit in front of me, and that doesn't mean she comes to me and turns around and starts looking at that basketball. Too many people allow that, and the dog is looking here and they're petting the dog saying good dog. What I'm actually telling the dog good dog for is not paying attention to me at all and focusing on that over there. I want to make sure when I'm giving the dog the praise, the dog is looking at me. Nix, come. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Good girl for you. And that is exiting the car. All right, I'm going to be using two dogs for this video that are really good friends. I've got Phoenix here, and my daughter Clara has Nix. When you're walking your dog, collars can come off, leashes can break, or some people go into the woods or the trails and they look around and no one's coming, so they unclip the dog. If you put your dog and yourself in that situation, you need to be able to have a recall to call your dog back to you. So once again, we're going back to the leash. I need to make sure my dog is pretty reliable on leash before I attempt this off leash. So we're going to do a setup of you're walking your dog and they're looking at something, they notice something. Could you back away and call them to come to you? They'll turn their back to the distraction to you. In this instance, we're using a social distraction, another dog. It would be asking a lot at certain ages to ask your dog to come from something super scary. So you always want to ask yourself what will work best for my dog depending on what learning period they're in. So these guys are about 8-9 months old, and I'm going to bring Phoenix over here. And then we're going to go for a walk. Gather, 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 up, sit. Step back, make her, yep, and up. There you go. There you go, just like that. So Nixie was trying to turn around to look back at her friend, so I was just helping Clara figure out what to do about it. So we're gonna go back again and we're gonna try it again. So Nix, come. Sit. Good boy for you. Good boy. Look at that cute puppy. Look it. Come. Come here. Sit. Good boy for you. Come towards me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Back up and call her. Good girl. Not super bad. Good. Back up, caller. Gather, gather. Up, sit. Good girl. Just like that. Good job. Walk off because she's looking that way. Just walk off. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good. Thanks for watching the video today on 5 recalls that you can do daily, inside or outside. Doorways, crate, place, exiting vehicles, and while on a walk. We are going to be launching part 2, so make sure to like and subscribe and take another look. Thanks for joining us.